Let people know where we are on the beautiful Euston Street. I thought it'd be nice around the corner from the IFI. This would be a kind of... would you get to many films now? Because you're so busy, I don't know whether you get to see...
I went to see, the most recent one was a film, BPM, a French film about the AIDS epidemic in Paris in the 80s.
I didn't see it.
And it was powerful, but I'd never watch it again. It was really travel. I was going to walk out a few times. It was so heavy. And that's what I love. But it was so real, you know, the French, how they do it. Well, it just wasn't like acting, you know what I mean? And it creeped me out. But
a good old Lars von Trier, he's had a lot of walkouts for his new one, the whatever it's called, the house that Jack built or something with Matt Dillon.
Where in Cannes, was it?
Yeah, there's a serial killer movie, but
a walkout in Cannes is good though.
Yeah, it's great. I mean,
you probably get like a stand ovation in the next screen. Or something, you know?
Yeah, it's good for the box office. Now we should say you've had a pretty spectacular year. Well, you've had a pretty spectacular few years, of course, but I was really taken aback by your wonderful IFTA acceptance speech.
Oh, thanks.
For you yourself, was it a sort of did you kind of know before you went up there? If I win this, I'm gonna punch a little bit. I'm gonna
because I didn't think I was gonna win it.
Right.
So like honestly, because I thought our film didn't get support by the film board, and the film board are involved with funding with the IFTAs, blah blah blah. Yeah. Me thinking all the conspiracy stuff. So we're not gonna get a win. And everybody said if we do get one win, they thought it would have been me, but I didn't think so. Right. So once I got called up, the only thing I knew I was going to do that I prepared my head was I was going to relate it to creativity, to mental health, and I was going to dedicate it to my father. And how I was going to do that, I didn't know. Right. And then everything else that came, like criticising the film board, it was just because I seen their table on the way up, and I said, well, I'm going to get you. But obviously do it with a bit of comedy rather than going heavy on it. It's the Irish way, I think it's more effective. Right.
And I would hope and imagine, well certainly I know, just having spoken to you before the cameras rolled, when you mentioned the fact that you'd been in a bunch of very successful TV shows and films, and yet you were without an agent. But that has all changed now.
I got an agent in London. Inter Talent Group, Alex Siegel. So great agent, and getting me good stuff now, and everything is looking bright.
And does it feel? They say that when you start winning these sort of awards, certainly in America, it puts a huge increase in your value and your bankability and all those things. I mean, did you feel the effect of that? Do you feel there's certainly in this country and hopefully beyond UK and all that?
Just since I won the IFTA, like a lot of people are offering me stuff like the shorts and whatever, and parts and features and stuff like. They're not blockbusters or anything, but I'm getting straight up offers for things, which is nice. You know what I mean? So I have no ego or anything like that, and I'm just here to fucking get a bit of work, you know what I mean? Like the next man, and you can't be in a position where you're gonna, I'm gonna say yes to that and no to that. And, you know what I mean? Like it's not really like that until you make it, and I'm a long way off making it,
Now that idea too that Samuel L. Jackson's always going to play to a degree Samuel L. Jackson in the movie, and it's the John Wayne thing. I mean, it's perfectly fitting that a certain type is great for a certain type of role. I mean, is that something you think about? Well, obviously there's a physicality and there's a presence about yourself that people sort of kind of read it straight away almost that who you might be. Or do you think, well, no, I want to play like a ballerina at some point, or I want to mix it up, or
I definitely want to mix it up. I have recently, so a few films that be coming out, you'll see me mixing up, like a feature film I've done up north called Bend in the River, where I was playing a character who was kind of weak and on the spectrum and being bullied or whatever, so a victim essentially, which I've never really played. I've always been someone who's strong or whatever, or an anti-hero or hero or blah blah blah. I want to mix it up 100%. But look, the thing is with me, I've come to realise in the last years that versatility isn't about gaining or losing 50 pounds, which I've done for Carver Gangsters. I lost 5 stone, or growing a moustache, or blah 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 blah. Versatility for me is playing many different emotions, like James Gandolfini, how he can do it. You know what I mean? So that's really what I want to do. I just want to get a character where I have to go all different places, and that's the challenge: is to go all different places.
You've been creating your own work, which is always smart. You wrote Stalker in 2012, and obviously Carver Gangsters was a huge hit, which you created as well and co-wrote. And now you've got For the Good of the Child, which is a 1970s set story about child trafficking in Dublin. It must feel different now that you've said yourself you're able to set these things in motion, and you're taking a slight step back, that you don't have to sweat every detail. These things can almost start to look after themselves, or can start to take momentum. And that must feel good that you can.
Yeah, well look, I just kind of realised that you can't wait for a yes off anybody, and I couldn't even get in the room to even ask for a yes because I didn't have an agent. So I just stayed at home writing, and I'm writing loads of stuff. I've written a few shorts I'm going to be making in the next few weeks. I've just directed 2 shorts, a drama and a short doc. So, and I'm going to be directing a few more in the next few weeks. So no one's stopping me, you know what I mean? I'm not allowing anybody to stop me. If the door doesn't open up, just kick it through,
Boom. Now this sort of dual thing that with the speech would have sort of shown that, you know, there you are. You're an artist. You're making great work. You're an actor. You're a writer, and all that. But then, of course, there's a sort of a feeling that you represent a community, that you're a spokesperson because you're of your we'll say your fame, that you're known. I mean, is that something that sits comfortably always with you? Because I guess I always think of, you know, in any situation where there's a slightly kind of negative, you know, image of a certain, you know, race of people or a certain subgenre or whatever, you kind of have to be ultra well behaved to sort of, you know, not, you know, kind of get grief because they're going to say, oh, I'm not.
I'm not ultra well behaved.
Yeah.
No, there is it can be at times very challenging, because I end up being the kind of take all the brunt of it. You know what I mean? People allowed to they like to just draw all their hate out of me. You know what I mean? So I get that a lot online.
Okay.
But I've learned to kind of deal with that, because if you don't, you'll internalise that, and that'll just depress you. So look, I've no choice in the matter. I feel like I've no choice, you know what I mean? And I come from a long line of activists, the first traveller activist ever, and it's in me blood and DNA to fight for the rights of me people. So I kind of I'm willing, you know what I mean? I'm willing to take the brunt of it, you know.
It struck me now when you did Race Matters, the RT series, you know, into America, and you looked at, you know, the tribal kind of culture over there, and the way people are ghettoized, and there's a certain degree of, you know, they're doomed almost in some cases to live out a certain type of life, and that happens all over the world. It seems to me it's gotten slightly worse, you know, with the likes of Trump and all that, really, and you can see it across Europe. There's a sort of a turning up a little bit of the pressure of, you know, if you're not from around here, we're not crazy about you, because, you know, we're struggling and we don't need you on board. And it just seems, I don't know whether you feel it's
just becoming more evident. That's what they're saying, is that you know, that Trump has given rise to these people and given them like, people believe now they can talk like this to people, or they can come out like this. I think it's always been there, to be fair.
Kind of justified it in a way.
I think Europe is a lot worse than America. Let's be fair about it, because Europe is a vast majority predominantly white, and anytime a new group of people comes into a country, you have a right-wing movement then starts to try to get them out. If you look at America, it's a melting pot. Yes, there's racism, 100%, of course there is, but there's terrible institutionalised racism with many minorities. I think Europe, there's even a bigger problem, I think, that we're excluding Ireland, and within Ireland excluding the traveller thing. You know what I mean? We're not as bad because we don't have all these mad kind of groups and whatever, you know.
Now, we should say too that you made a lovely part of your speech was dedicating the award to your father, who had sadly took his own life, and the screening out in Greystones, the event is for Peter House. This is obviously something that also you'd feel very, very strongly about, because it runs deep.
Pieta House, they do, you know, the run services for people who were suicidal and people who were self-harming. I mean, I'm all for that. I come from a community where 11% of travellers die by suicide, one of the highest suicide rates in the world, 7 times higher than the national rate. My own father committed suicide. I know loads of people who committed suicide. It's an epidemic. So so I mean, what are you going to do? You have to do your bit, you know.
And that moment of limelight, getting into the acting, was a lovely thing, that somebody basically sort of threw a lifeline and said to you, you know, you really should get out there and find creativity. And creativity is such a huge part of everyone's life. If you're not being creative, you're not sort of being yourself. You're not making something that's valuable, that makes you feel worthwhile. And
it was my brother Joe, actually. He said, look, you're obsessed with films all your life. I actually used to watch your reviews on television. I remember for years
when I was a young man with loads of hair. And
it was on TV3, wasn't
it? That's it.
I used to watch it every week, and you give your TV picks and cinema picks and blah blah blah, and your interviews with the celebrities and stuff. I remember watching them. You know,
they were great. That was amazing.
Yeah, you actually were, but you were though. You were the only critic I knew until I was like 21 or 2 or something. You know,
that's sweet.
But like creativity basically saved my life, and this is like that's genuine. And I say to people, I don't care what kind of work you do, whatever, find something that's creative. They will sing a song in a fucking shower. You know what I mean? Do something, because it is good for you. When you do something creative, it just, you know, it messes with the brain chemistry, and the serotonin levels rise. You're just in a good mood, you know. You can feel it, the dopamine, you know.
And it's about magic. I mean, in a way, anything at all that whether it's a photograph or you know, a 2-hour film or whatever, it's you're kind of creating magic, because you're in a moment, you're crystallizing a feeling, or crystallizing something that's inside you, and that can have a great effect on
and now that's what I'm finding even more, like, in a way, like, I love acting, but even more with the directing now, that because it's what I'm putting out is from me. Do you know what I mean? It's from, and it's everything I believe and what I feel about the world. So putting that out, and it's kind of intimidating, kind of, in a way, but it's satisfying as well. And then when people relate to it, it's nice. You know what I mean?
Now I should finish up by saying out in sunny Greystones, we've just had like recently a little bit of trouble with they're called the Half-Wit Gang. They're a bunch of teens who are not particularly being, we'll say, community orientated. I mean, do you find out because of you know, even just because of the characters you played, and you've stepped into the world of I would say with gangster, you know, obviously with cowboy gangsters and with love hate and all that. Is there cowboy gangsters? Is there? I don't know whether you sort of think, well, it's just always part of a community, always part of nature, or whether I don't know whether you get angry about such things or how it's...
Well, yeah, it is, but it's tribalism. It is
Right.
and tribalism is a huge thing, and it's a huge thing still in Ireland. And even with identity politics and racism and all, it's essentially just about your tribe, your gang.
Right.
So these
Right.
bunch of lads, to me, are probably lads who have nothing to do, a little bit pissed off the world, going through the teenage years, all the hormones is all over the place, and they're looking to just do some destruction,
Right.
which is just silly. I think they're the ones who need creativity or art or form of expression, something a lot healthier than that, and let them manifest in such a way, which is just idiotic. And it is anger for anybody, and especially when you're doing things that is completely unmotivated and attacking people or destroying property or whatever. It's just idiotic. And hopefully in years to come, they'll regret that sort of stuff, or they'll end up in prison. That's a fact. I know I have so many friends that went out to prison and did all that, and I was lucky because I said, no, that's not me now. You know what I mean?
And what's amazing is that they turn it around to being kind of a victim mentality, that they're sort of being given a hard life, and therefore, you know,
well, it's the
people are
rescue.
bullying them, and people
it's
are
the rescuer thing,
singling
right?
them.
So what they do is, it's a basic thing in psychology. The make a load of noise, make no lies, they get someone in to rescue them, and then when someone wants to rescue them, they offload on them, and then they go.
Yeah.
Then they leave it with you.
Right.
You put it all on you.
Nice.
It's a typical little circle, you know.
So shooting them would be wrong, right? If you
Shooting
shot
them-
one of them, is that